What's up YouTube? I'm Charmaine Jamil and welcome back to another video. This week's video, I really wanted to share 3 tips about how to maintain a strong mindset. Lately, I feel like there has been so much negativity going on in the world, and not that that's, not new, but it's just really heightened. And I really think that we have to really make sure that we are protecting our minds, protecting ourselves from just outside factors that really try to trigger us into exploding or losing our emotions, especially over things that we have no control over. The one thing that we do have control over is ourselves, our emotions, and how we interact with the world. And so I really wanted to share these 3 tips with you so that you can really help exercise that muscle for yourself to maintain a stronger mindset. So without further ado, here are my 3 tips. My first tip, being a repeat offender is not worth the hassle. Tip number 2, check your proximity. And tip number 3, do the uncomfortable and inconvenient. When I was thinking about these 3 tips, so many different experiences that I've had really just kind of came to mind. I thought about certain conversations that I've had with people over the years. I've thought about different places that I've been, places that I've visited, my environment. And when I think about controlling my emotions and really focusing on me, I really thought about the times that I thought or I gave the benefit of the doubt to a certain person or the benefit of the doubt to a certain situation or a place or a job. And every time that I gave the benefit of the doubt and against my better judgment went back to what was old, I really came out with either hurt feelings, being very upset, or just frustrated because certain things didn't go my way. And so when I say, being a repeat offender is not worth it, one story that really came to mind that really helped me gain perspective was I was about in my 20s. I know I was like maybe 24, 25, something like that. And I have a rule. Well, I have a really definite rule now. If I'm dating someone, they cannot be younger than me. Like, I just don't have time for the immaturity. I don't have time. So I just don't date anyone that's younger than me. Not to say that, someone who's older than me, more mature or not, but I just know for a fact there are some individuals, as far as guys are concerned, that just, they need their time to grow and explore, and that's their prerogative and that's their business. I just know from this situation that I'm getting ready to share with you, that is what I learned. Hey, you have control over this, so pick and choose your battles wisely. So I was dating this guy who was a lot younger than I was, but at the time, I was a teacher and kind of had my own, money, my own house, everything going for myself, where I was trying to start building my adult life, so to speak. And I remember when I wanted him to come to my grandfather's birthday party. I think my grandfather was like turning 90 or something like that. Like, it was one of those big milestone birthday parties. And I asked him to come and, celebrate this milestone with me with my grandfather. And I remember telling my grandfather, because I was really close with my grandparents before they passed away, and I remember telling my grandfather, hey, I'm going to bring the guy that I'm dating to your birthday party so you all can meet him. And I remember telling this guy, hey, I told my parents, I told my grandfather that you were coming, and I don't know if it was just kind of one of those things where he was nervous to come and meet my grandparents, or I don't know what it was. I'm not even going to try to dissect it hindsight looking back. However, long story short, the day before he was supposed to come and we were supposed to drive down to my grandfather's birthday party, he went out and got drunk and ended up with like alcohol poisoning or something like that. And I remember telling my friend, because he had showed all of these, I'm not even going to say red flags because he was young. He just showed all of the signs of immaturity, that he was not going to necessarily keep his word on certain things. And sure enough, I told my friend, if he doesn't come to this birthday party after I've told everyone that he was coming, I'm dumping his ass. And I like didn't even cross words, didn't even go into detail about it. But sure enough, he, got drunk, got alcohol poisoning. And the morning I was supposed to leave to go to my grandfather's birthday, because I was just driving down there for the day, he didn't show up. He didn't answer his phone. It was like MIA, just kind of like swiped off the face of this earth. But of course, I went ahead, drove down to the birthday party anyway. I will never forget the feeling of my grandfather saying, I thought you were bringing your friend so that we could meet him. And I didn't have the heart to say, he's so young and immature that he went out, got drunk, and, just flaked on me. I just had it in my head, oh, I already know what I'm getting ready to say to him because I'm cutting this off. Like, I'm not dealing with this. So, long story short, I didn't hear from him the entire day. And one of his friends ended up texting me and was like, hey, he's in the hospital and, he has like alcohol poisoning, and was like basically telling me this sob story. And I just did not care. And I remember him getting at, like, when I finally spoke to him, I remember saying, oh, this isn't going to work. And he was like, you don't care. I just got out of the hospital and I just X, Y, and Z. And I was like, well, you don't care. You don't care because you knew that we had plans and we were supposed to be somewhere, but you made the decision to go out, get drunk and plastered, and then ended up God knows where. And then I'm talking to you 24 hours later and you want me to have some type of sympathy or empathy for you. But I remember, being sad about the situation. And of course, like I said, I was a working adult at the time. And when I went to work, that Monday, I just couldn't hold it together. Like, I was sad. I was going through a grieving process that, this was a person that I had been around for at least 6 months. And I was sad about it. And I remember having to step out of the room because my emotions were kind of getting the best of me. And one of my colleagues came out and she just was like, what's going on? And I'm thinking, I can't tell my colleague, my business about my raggedy boyfriend who got drunk and this and that. But girl, she was there and she offered her shoulder and I just melted, in all of my vulnerability to her. And I'm going to speed this story up because it's taken a long time. And I remember telling her the story and she just looked at me. She said, Charmaine, let me tell you something. So she shared with me, she said, I had been dating my son's father for 10 straight years. 10 years, he never talked about getting married. He never talked about any of that. I was just there. And we had this child together. And she said, it hit me one day that he was never going to marry me. He was never going to do anything. He was never going to commit and give me the word that he proclaimed at the very beginning. And she said, after I made the decision to break up with him, she said she met her husband 3 months later, and it was only 8 months that they dated that they got married. And essentially she said, you cannot put a responsibility on a person for something they're not ready for. And I thought, once she said that to me, first of all, I was like, girl, you were there for 10, like I almost became judgment. I'm not going to say almost, I did, because I'm like, well, dang. And she said, and if you're not careful, that can become you. So don't put the dirty drawers back on. And when she said that, I was like, duh. Don't put the dirty drawers back on. So that has become like one of my mantras for my life. When I see a certain situation that I know is I already know the outcome. I already know what's going to happen. In order for me to maintain that stronger mindset, I always say, don't you put those dirty drawers back on. Because when you really think about it, after you've taken a shower, routinely, you're not going into your dirty clothes hamper to pick out a pair of underwear that you wore earlier in the week to put on. And The same thing happens with certain situations in our life. So if you already know that that person is going to disappoint you, or this friendship is not serving you because you're going to talk about the same thing all the time, or talk about people, or whatever it is that's not going to get you to grow and have a steady mindset where you're on a journey of improving yourself, then don't put the dirty draws back on. You start looking at certain situations and thinking, have I played this game before? Have I done this? Do I already know the outcome to this? What is something else? I want to know what is the new thing that's going to be on the other side. That will help you to exercise your muscle of maintaining a stronger mindset. So that was tip number 1. Being a repeat offender is not worth it. Always think about that dirty draw syndrome. Tip number 2 kind of flows with it, of checking your proximities, because when you really think about it, a lot of outside factors can influence your emotions, how you feel, and I kind of shared that at the very beginning. And when I started checking my proximities, where I was at, who I was around, what were we talking about, what were we doing, and really always keeping into perspective who are the people around me, because whatever people are going through that are around you, that's going to kind of seep into your life, whether you're the friend that they're sharing their vulnerabilities with. That's a heavy load for you to take on, and or if you're sharing your vulnerabilities with them. It just all really depends. And so to keep a stronger mindset, you really have to think, for where I'm situated, located right now, whether that's where I live, whether that's the friend group I'm in, whether that's the job that I'm in, is this serving me to level up in life? Is this serving my growth journey? And a separate story that I can share that really helped me to think about checking my proximities is one of my friends, and we have been friends since high school. And I remember going through this phase in my life, of which I share on my YouTube channel in my 3-tip series, where I was just trying to figure out, what did I want to do in life? Who did I want to be? And I remember sharing, a vulnerable situation with this friend that I had been quote unquote friends with from high school. And I remember her saying, and I will never forget this conversation because that was our last conversation. I will never forget her saying to me, "Charmaine, I thought you were going to be so much more in life. I thought that you just in high school, you seemed like you had it all together, but you really don't. And I just thought that you would be more in life." Now, mind you, I'm like 20. No, I was a little bit older, because this was about the time that I quit my job that I share with in another video. And I just remembering, well, why do you judge me to be such a bum in life just because I made a personal decision to quit my job because I wanted to go and find what actually made me happy, instead of being in a, job that I just was so depressed in. And now that I'm, of age right now to look back on that conversation that we had and look back on that whole situation, it really was an instance where we were sharing our vulnerabilities with each other. However, what I noticed is I had or saw a way out into a direction of me actually attaining my happiness, attaining what I wanted for myself. And I knew I had to purge some things, whether that was a job or whatever what else it was. But for her, she was already married. She was already in a situation where she was trying to build a family. So for her, now that I'm looking back at it now, she was trying to make what she had chosen work. I still was in a place where I could kind of, redo the puzzle pieces and start from scratch. And sometimes people don't know how to process that for themselves, aside from, spewing whatever negative feelings they have on you. However, to maintain your stronger mindset, sometimes you just have to remove yourself from certain situations, certain people, and you have to just check your proximities. You have to think, is where I'm at, do the places I visit, do the people that I talk to, do they serve me? Do I grow from this? And you always have to question that, because when you question it, that's what's going to help you keep the perspective to maintain a stronger mindset for what you really want in life and what you deserve in life. And so when she, basically kind of divulged that information to me, I felt that that's something that she had been wanting to say to me for a while. And I really just kind of, by the end of that week, told her, hey, I think our friendship has run its course. And she couldn't understand why I had made the decision to end our friendship. It was at that moment where I knew that I was trying to grow. And if I did not get out of certain proximities where I was always going to encounter negativity, negative situations, negative people, aside from their own crap that they have going on, I was always going to be weighed down. And so that is something that you really have to question all the time. What are my proximities, and are those things steady enough where they're going to keep holding me down, or are they filling me with, new knowledge, enlightenment, and really growing me into the person that I want to be? And so the last thing, which is do the uncomfortable and the inconvenient, is really making a decision, like making that definite decision within yourself to say, what I want for myself, what I want out of life is more important to me than me hiding behind some type of mask to appease the masses of people. Because that is what really breaks down our mindsets, because we're always trying to pretend or portray to be something that we're not. And when we just do the uncomfortable to say, I really don't think that this is supposed to be in my life, and I'm gonna go ahead and just, you go north, I'll go south. You go east, I'll go west. And doing that, making that definite decision for yourself, is really setting out boundaries for yourself. And when you start protecting those, know for a fact what should be in your proximities and what should not be in your proximity. Because I really feel, and this is just me, I really feel a lot of times people think, after they have done whatever to you, have said whatever to you, a lot of times if you are friends with them for a long time, or even if you don't know them, a lot of times people think that you're not going to react or stand up for yourself. And when you do, and you teach them how to treat you, then they have to figure out for themselves, oh my goodness, now what do I do? They think that you're going to stay in that situation and not try to make something better for yourself. So that's why I say tip number 3 is do the uncomfortable, do the inconvenient. Even if it comes to, you really trying out new things, trying out your different goals that you want to set for yourself. If that's going back to school, if that's opening a business, whatever it is, do the uncomfortable and the inconvenient to learn a new skill, learn whatever business it is. Really set yourself out to observe and do other things, so that way taking in the creativity to build the life that you want to build. So I really hope that you take these 3 tips, really allow yourself to just get some groundwork to organize your thoughts and how you can maintain a stronger mindset. Because let me tell you, the negativity and the evils of the world, they are doing their job to bring whatever down without a shadow of a doubt, to trigger you, to explode in your emotions, or just to kind of keep you uncomfortable. You have to learn to do your job as well, and that is to have a strong mindset to really put certain pieces of your life in place so that you're always moving into a positive place of growth. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.